Welcome, and today we're going to explore some different parts of America in the early 1900s, and we're also going to touch on a little bit of Flat Earth British and a video that he did recently about the quarried stone that was used to build most of these buildings, including many in Washington, D.C. and Chicago. And basically, the quarry and what he shows as the story for the quarry, it doesn't appear until after the dates that have been given for a lot of these buildings that were apparently built with this stone from this quarry. So I think he did a great job showing this, and we'll get to that later. But first off, we're just going to explore just the awkwardness of the early people. And also we're going to touch on antique fireplaces and perhaps their actual function and a few other little things. Here is the Chicago Waterworks building. It was built in 1869, according to history, and it's the second oldest water tower in the United States, 1886. So this was the best way to build a water tower, according to our history. It would be best to build a tower that looks more like a castle, but nevertheless, water tower and pumping station. And here is the Illinois Central Depot for the railroad. Amazing archway, an amazing aging to this building, and really tacky signs. If you're gonna build such beauty, such pristine architecture with attention to fine detail, only to slap some signs up on the wall like this is tacky. And I don't think these buildings were designed this way. Windows behind here. This was a home, some kind of grand residence. Now it's been turned into several commercial sites. Cigars down here. All of this. And now it's been turned into commercial district. Restaurant. Look at the size of this door. Really amazing. And again, this same style. I'm sure in your city you have seen this style. Maybe it was a municipality building or a church or whatever we call it now. And these buildings have all been redesignated and repurposed. Now this is called the Marlborough in New Jersey, and they tore this building down. They tore it down even though it's one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen in America. And they tore it down. But getting back to my point, when we look at a scene like this, and we look at a building like I just showed, and then we see tents, and people who don't really seem to be very accustomed to going to the beach. Tents, not really bathing suits, not really beach clothing. You know, people are making do with what they have. Post-reset, it appears as if everybody's been given, very similar clothing. And actually very nice clothing. Suits, umbrellas. There seems to be this reset issue. And we see this. People dressed better. People seem to live better. People seem to be more leisure. Have more time on their hands. Nobody seems stressed. But what I want you to notice is that nobody has a beach towel. Nobody has a beach towel. This is very awkward. People just sitting in the sand. Really like it's the first time they all went to the beach. And really leisure. Everybody just leisure as could be. There isn't a stress or a care that I've seen in most of these pictures. I think by 1940 we start to see more, but in the early 1900s, very little stress. Everybody looks healthy, dressed well. It's just a big party. No boats, just leisure. Just leisure boats, no business. No massive ships. No goods coming or going. Now again, I want you to notice. No beach towel, not even a thought of a beach towel. First time going to the beach. You know, enjoying themselves, but also out of place. Out of place. But yet really nice things. I mean, look at these umbrellas. Were these umbrellas inherited? I mean, they didn't have towels. Nobody had a beach towel. Not even a thought. The clothes doesn't necessarily fit people, but it's nice. Nobody seems to be without. Everybody seems to be smoking, like the island where they took Pinocchio. Now here again is the Marlboro that I was showing you, but just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now again, I just feel like these signs, you know, you're going to build this beauty, this glorious beauty, only to throw some cheap signs over the top. I mean, you're going to have these amazing ornaments on each side of these doors. And then you're going to have this cheap sign. And this is a cheap sign, I promise you. This is as cheap as a sign gets, and nothing else. Nothing that has to do with this building is cheap. I mean, you want to make a building like this and throw a little wooden sign on? That's the best you can do when you have ornamentation like this? No. This is not your building. You did not build this building. Again, this sign hanging here in front of a door or a window, just an afterthought. This building has been inherited and turned into a hot and cold seawater bath. Again, probably plumbed by the older people. Someone just came in and availed themselves, but all of this junk that you see comes after. Here, this is for rent. 40 by 50 feet. So somebody has just turned this balcony and now they're trying to rent this balcony out. I mean, someone has... This is an afterthought. This is not a commercial building, but this is what we do. Our inheritors came and paint signs on. That's as good as it gets right here. You're painting. You're not building a building like this. You're just, all you can do is paint on it. And hang some wooden signs. And not even well. Not even well. Poorly hung. All of this is junk. These tents, afterthoughts. This is the new people paint wooden signs and put up tents everywhere. And the old people were much greater in their abilities. And now I just wanted to share this website on antique fireplaces. This was shared with me by Chris Vasilis. Thank you, Chris. An absolutely amazing showcase of these old antique fireplaces. And I mean, I think it's stupid to even call them fireplaces, but that's what we have turned them into. when really they should be called, antique technology. There's really no complete understanding, as far as I know, on the function. I think what's more clear is what was not the function, and that would be a fireplace. And these are not designed to burn. They're in beautiful settings and beautiful ornamentation around, and they always have these pillars on the front which seem more like technology that is actually conducting a role in this. Now here we do see burning in this depiction. And maybe, one could burn and still also use the function of the free energy, or whatever they were. Look at this amazing, amazing. I mean, you're going to build like this around your fireplace? Just an amazing people. And here again, just a great example. I mean, look at this. And again, so now, these do vent into the open air. But you can see here it's not being used as a fireplace. This has another purpose. And so perhaps it's the complete opposite of what we have in a fireplace. Perhaps where, we send the heat up and waste it. It just goes up and out in a complete waste. And in this particular case, the air current could actually come down and produce some sort of heat once it passes through the conducting mechanisms that I'll show you in a picture here in a minute that kind of depicts how these could have worked. Completely opposite, and what I found is everything seems to be opposite of how we would do it. And the way we do things are backwards. So yeah, look at these things. Now this is a great picture right here. Look at this. I mean, this reminds me of the cathedral I was showing in Vienna. This is the same style, you see. This is an energy gathering style. And yet we'll see these on cathedrals, and especially with these little knobby things that I was showing on the cathedrals in Germany. But now it's inside of a house. It's producing the same effect. This is an energy gathering mechanism of symmetry. This is not just pure artistic, although it's beautiful, but this has a purpose. And now what I wanted to show is look at these modern men in the 18th century. Here they tell us examples of fireplaces in the 18th century. Are you kidding me? Example of a fireplace? But, these, like I was showing in the pictures earlier, well, these are the inheritors of this reset. And this reset is even more glorious than our American reset that I was just showing earlier. This era was even more glorious. Again, they have been introduced. These are reset people, the reset before ours, I would imagine. Again, dressed well, given the clothing of the old world. But primitive. And again, burning. The fact that they are burning in this fireplace, which I don't ever believe was meant to burn wood. No. No, you're not going to burn sooty wood in here and just trash this whole thing with soot in a couple of years. That was not the purpose of this. You don't build like this and have a fire. But yet these people are. They don't understand. They don't understand, and in good time, these places would not sustain burning. And they didn't. I mean, they'd have to be rebuilt later and designed for fires. These were not their purpose. And again, the same Amazing style, absolutely amazing, but not a fireplace. And they end up being used as a fireplace, but why? Why would you put art in here and cloth? This appears to be cloth. Cloth frills. No, no, something else. And now this one is completely walled off. In France, in 1614, la cheminée de la grande salle de l'hôtel Vogue à Dijon. So the chimney in the grand hall at the Hotel Vogue in Dijon, France, in 1614. And oh, how interesting. Where are you going to burn here? Where are you going to burn? This is something else. And yet this is all that we have left. All that we have left is this drawing. Beautiful drawing. I mean, perhaps based on a lithograph, probably a real reflection that was traced. Really amazing. Again, with the little posts. Every single one has the little post things. I mean, this would get in your way if you were burning wood. And this looks as if it has had wood burned in it, and you can see how bad it looks. You can see what starts happening when people burn wood in here. It's not meant to burn wood in here. It's not big enough, and here, there is, I see implements for cleaning a fireplace. But really, I mean, we have to be logical here. Does this look like a fireplace? I am pretty certain, and look at the faceless knight here, I am pretty certain that this is machinery. And inside here we're going to have a machine, and this machine is going to allow us to probably heat and cool the house. This is the center, this is the hearth of the house. This is your, central system. Central air, but central energy and central everything. Now here we go. And this now depicts what is going on. The fireplace shown above has one common trait, a metal plate behind the firebox, or the whole firebox made of metal. These objects may be of various sizes, which can amplify electricity in a conductor. They are capacitors. So now this is basically showing, like an antenna. Let's imagine that the fireplace and roof are connected by metal bondings through the chimney. The whole construction becomes one solid conductor, conducted with a metal plate in the firebox. So now it really makes more sense. And we, of course, come along and see this opening, and we burn. The new reset people just burn. And this would explain why the new reset people didn't think that there were proper heating and cooling, but mostly heating. The royalty was said to freeze in the castles, which they inherited. Freezing in buildings all throughout America and Europe, any of the inherited buildings, because these technologies were not being implemented. Now we can see that these technologies exist in all buildings, but if you didn't know how to use it, and you have just inherited these buildings, and all you want to do is try to burn wood in here, and it's not very effective, nor is a fireplace very effective. I mean, where you're just burning and most of it is just shooting right out through the top of the house. I mean, a complete waste. Now, it doesn't mean you can't make it more efficient, but we weren't making them more efficient, and we weren't utilizing this technology, and it would take, a chunk of time before we would get our acts together and figure out how to do things the way we're going to do things, because we obviously didn't know how to do things the way that they did things. And most of these fireplaces end up being torn out or demolished because they're still not understood. Well, I think they are understood, but that wasn't shared with us. And you can see here it appears as if there's been retrofitting. This almost looks like a radiant heater. Again, just amazing. You know, why would you decorate art in a place that you were going to burn? You wouldn't care about a place that you want to burn. And you would have more protection, you know, so the fire doesn't jump out. I mean, this is a very shallow and wasteful, really wasteful fireplace. And finally, I just wanted to finish off with, I won't say the latest, it's this episode of Flat Earth British. And Martin does an amazing presentation showing and proving that much of the stonework, according to the official narrative, was not being quarried according to the official date of these buildings. So, you know, they tell us, I believe it was, you know, Martin, and I encourage you to watch his video, and, you know, he shows how in 1865, or approximately, give or take, they begin to quarry this hard granite on the East Coast. And at the same time, they tell us that many of these buildings were built in the 1840s, and the point is pre-quarrying, even establishing. And Martin does an amazing job of, you know, pinning down the exact company that historically, according to the narrative, produced this granite, or this white, very hard granite that they were using to build. So, you know, it's just impossible. It's absolute proof that the narrative is false. And just, you know, this final showcase. Now here we do see the erecting of a column, but at the same time, the building below it is much, much older. And the aging, I mean, this isn't, okay, if this is in 1860, no way. No way is this the construction of this building. It's obviously much older than we're told. And a lot of these images are in San Francisco. And he shows one that is just absolutely amazing. And in fact, all of these images are examples of older photographs, and especially in San Francisco and California, the quarries do not arrive until much later, even later than the East Coast quarries, you know, as it would be if we're following the historical narrative. Now again, you know, some people will say, oh, this is proof of construction of these old buildings. Here's a photograph. That was not a photograph of the construction. That was doing a little roof work. And again, look at the style of the old world. I mean, here is San Francisco. Here is 1863, Washington, D.C. But yeah, really amazing. Look at the mud flooding here. And here, San Francisco. I mean, this looks more like Europe. Now here it is. Here is the image that I wanted to show. Now in San Francisco on Post Street, the National Guard Armory. And we see this a lot, you know, again, the silly designation of buildings. And this has to be the most ridiculous designation for a building that I've ever seen. I mean, this is going to be the National Guard Armory building. I mean, this thing looks like it's partially straight out of India, or, you know, this is just absolutely amazing. And then we have a castle next to it. I mean, just amazing. This is not... Of course, nobody ever saw this building. This building was torn down quickly, I'm sure. If I'm wrong, tell me if this building still exists, if anybody knows, on Post Street in San Francisco. But, this is just something else. Really, really remarkable. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. And do have a blessed day. Please like, comment, and subscribe.